Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to today's joint hearing of the Senate Majority Policy Committee and the House Republican Policy Committee to focus on the future of AI innovation. We are here at the request of Senator Tracy Pennycuick, the chair of the Senate Communications and Technology Committee. Thank you, Tracy. We literally would not be here without you. And so the emerging technologies that we see in all sectors of the workforce, education, healthcare, transportation industry, all will be touched by this emergent technology. With that said, I want to recognize Representative David Rowe, the chair of the House Republican Policy Committee, for opening remarks and introductions. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It's very exciting to be here. This is a technology that I will admittedly know very little about. So I'm very excited to be here today. I have a lot to learn, and I know a lot of my colleagues are much more well-versed in the issue than I am. The conversation of AI has been a frequent one as we've been traveling on the House side talking about energy and the enormous energy demands that the development of AI requires. We have some very exciting projects in the Commonwealth, whether it's up in Columbia County with Amazon Web Services or down in 3 Mile Island with Microsoft. A lot of exciting opportunities, but those opportunities only come with affordable, reliable energy, which Pennsylvania has in abundance if we can simply capture it. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for having us here today.
Thank you. Senator Pennycuick.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I want to thank Chairman Argyle and Chairman Rowe for having this policy hearing. AI is an exploding technology. I have spent the last 2 years educating myself on AI, and I still feel like I'm still learning every day. But I'm so glad to be here in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is emerging as the leader in AI. This is an AI hub, and I was here about a year ago, and I have to tell you, I was so impressed with the technology hub that seems to be here in Pittsburgh, and now we're here for the AI hub. And I see great things coming from Pittsburgh. I think we are going to be a national leader in AI right here in Pittsburgh, and I'm really excited to hear the testimony today. Thank you.
Let me begin with the introduction of our members.
Roman Kozak, Beaver County.
Good morning, everyone. I'm State Representative Robert Ledbetter, representing the 109th District, consisting of all of Columbia County.
Good morning. I'm Tim Twardzik. I represent the good people in the 123rd District of Schuylkill County.
Good morning. My name's Marla Brown, and I'm from Lawrence County, District 9.
Good morning. I'm Valerie Gatos, a state representative of the 44th District. My district encompasses the Pittsburgh Airport and the surrounding area, and I am delighted to be here. I spent 25 years in the private sector doing tech companies and investing in small startup companies, and I couldn't be more proud of our tech community here in Pittsburgh and looking forward to helping make better things happen, to draw more attention. And I'm on the Communications and Technology Committee in the House, which hopefully we will be able to do a lot of bipartisan stuff to help this community thrive.
I'm Senator Tracy Pennycuick. I represent parts of Montgomery and Berks County, and I chair Communications and Technology.
David Rowe. I have the privilege of representing the 85th Legislative District that covers Union, Snyder, Juniata, and Mifflin counties.
Senator Dave Argyle. I work with this guy in Schuylkill County a lot. Representative.
Thank you. Representative Stephanie Shalaba. I represent parts of Butler County. Pittsburgh is my old haunts. I used to work at Buchanan, Ingersoll and Rooney and Eckerd Siemens, where I focused on data privacy and cybersecurity for the better part of a decade as a cybersecurity attorney. So this is my bread and butter. I'm thrilled to be back here as often as I can. I see some friendly faces, Joanna in the crowd. So Pittsburgh has always been on the cutting edge of everything, and really Western Pennsylvania has. So I am fortunate to chair the AI Opportunity Task Force for the House, and I am really looking forward to helping Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania step into their proper role as the keystone of AI.
I'm Senator Devlin Robinson. I represent the western and southern portions of Allegheny County, and I've been involved a little bit with CMU and University of Pittsburgh in the AI realm for quite some time, and have been very close with all the goings on of Astrobotics, and it's been really exciting to watch their progress. So, thank you.
Thanks, Devlin. We are expecting Senator Kiefer to also join us online, and anyone who is experiencing any technical issues online or elsewhere, you need to talk to the executive director, Josh. I am not the technology guy for the committee, and so Josh, thanks to you and your House counterpart for pulling this all together. I will ask everyone to strictly observe our time limits. My House predecessor worked for the railroad, and so I do try to keep the schedule on time. And what we will do is we have several different panels, and then we will just open it up for Q&A for as long as we have, and then we'll move to the next panel. And so with that in mind, let me turn to our first panel. We have Shandong Wu, a professor at the Pittsburgh Center for AI Innovation and Medical Imaging, Human Rashidi, for the, the Executive Director of Computational Pathology at the AI Center of Excellence, and Joanna Dovin, the Executive Director. Let's begin.
Well, thank you so much. Honorable Chair and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today and for the continued dedication in strengthening healthcare access and innovation throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. My name is Human Rashidi. I'm a professor in Lombardi Shinizaku Endowed Chair of Experimental Pathology. I'm also the Associate Dean of AI at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine, while also serving as the Executive Director of CPACE, which is our Computational Pathology and AI Center of Excellence. It is a privilege to share the important work being done at our institution to harness artificial intelligence in healthcare and democratize its use for clinicians, researchers, students, and support staff alike. This transformative work has a direct and growing impact on the lives of Pennsylvanians as it improves patient care, expands healthcare access, enhances workforce readiness, and fosters a future-forward health innovation economy that benefits citizens across the Commonwealth and beyond. I want to tell you a little bit about CPACE and how its rapid rise to AI healthcare leadership. It was established in 2024 in January. CPACE has already become a recognized national and global leader in healthcare AI, especially within pathology and laboratory medicine arena. Our center is rooted in the belief that AI must be accessible, ethical, and impactful. Since our founding, CPACE has launched multiple clinically integrated AI tools, which includes but is not limited to Report Genie, AutoPix AI, WSI Genie, PIT GPT+, Nebulin GPT, which are all used to enhance diagnosis, reporting, and decision-making. Led cutting-edge research and strategic AI projects in tackling all sorts of data types, forged key partnerships, including major industry stakeholders, including but not limited to Leidos, which we're happy to announce that we have our new $10 million industry-sponsored grant being introduced this Friday, actually. Also advised other academic institutions, such as but not limited to UCSF and others, in terms of being able to model similar AI centers in their space. And we also have received national and international recognition for its educational mission to democratize AI literacy, particularly through the release of our first ever open access AI review article series, which was just published in the United States and Canadian Academy of Pathology's AI Education Initiatives in Modern Pathology, which I've left the links to for your reading pleasure. Moreover, CPACE has catalyzed AI momentum throughout our broader institutional ecosystem. It has served as a springboard for launching governance, structures, policies, cross-campus collaborations, and new industry partnerships, all focused on responsible AI development and deployment in health sciences. These ripple effects have helped accelerate our institution's strategic transformation and position Pennsylvania as a hub for innovation. A little thing about CPACE and Pitt's global AI education contributions and broader workforce impact. At the heart of our mission is the democratization of AI literacy. We are executing this through a robust three-phase AI education curriculum, which we've already launched within Pitt, and it allows a no-code accessibility, interactivity, and evidence-based content approach to education around AI. Our approach eliminates traditional technical barriers by offering a no-code AI learning platform, which means requiring no prior programming or engineering background whatsoever. It's incorporates various integrative AI tools. Full disclosure, various tools here are because of my own startups and even developed within CPACE. Real-time training and visualization tools also for clinicians and students to learn and experience hands-on and synthetic real data sets. And the reason we emphasized on the synthetic, because we want to be respectful in ensuring patient privacy. This no-code hands-on model, unique in its scope and depth at Pitt, is opening doors for a broader and more diverse healthcare and research workforce to engage meaningfully with AI. By making AI accessible without requiring technical expertise, our programs are creating new educational pathways and job opportunities throughout Pennsylvania. These programs are particularly valuable in helping reskill and upskill individuals for careers in digital health, biomedical data science, and AI-integrated clinical practice. We emphasize scientific credibility by building our curriculum around high-quality, peer-reviewed resources like the ones that I just mentioned to you. These resources, by the way, even though we're led by Pitt and CPACE, they brought on 50-plus AI experts from across the world, and these are from Harvard, CMU, UCSF, and others that actually helped deliver this. So I'll leave those links for your reading pleasure. These resources are now being adopted in AI education initiatives, both nationally and internationally, and most importantly, are already contributing to local job creation and professional development efforts right here in Pennsylvania. Lastly, real-world impact and applications in clinical and rural health. CPACE's work is not confined to research and education. It directly addresses healthcare delivery challenges, especially in underserved and rural communities across Pennsylvania. Our AI innovations are enabling faster diagnosis and reporting through intelligent automation and targeted AI tools, empowering clinicians with AI-assisted tools at the point of care, even in settings without access to large clinical teams, and just as importantly, creating AI-literate champions within the healthcare space who serve as liaisons between the technical and clinical teams, bridging the gap that hinder interdisciplinary decision-making in multidisciplinary conferences like tumor boards. For example, one of our AI initiatives is enabling the standardization of care delivery across rural pathology sites in Pennsylvania. Through AI-assisted digital diagnostics and no-code education, rural hospitals are now able to collaborate with expert hubs in real time, ensuring consistency in diagnostic practices and improving patient outcomes. This level of coordination and equity in care delivery would be nearly impossible without the integration of these advanced technologies. Our training and development models are designed specifically to empower healthcare providers and support staff across all geographies, unlocking potential and driving workforce sustainability in both urban and rural regions. And lastly, a call for strategic support and policy partnership with all respect from you all. To continue advancing this vision and scaling these impacts, we respectfully propose the following opportunities for legislative and policy support. Invest in AI education programs for healthcare workers modeled on our no-code, evidence-based, and interactive platforms that quickly upskill and expand Pennsylvania healthcare and life science workforce. By having that, you basically can bring on 99% of the folks who don't want to touch their terminal and do it in a no-code way. Support for the development and clinical integration of AI tools that reduce documentation burden, enhance diagnostic accuracy, and improve patient outcomes, especially for underserved populations. Provide targeted investments in rural healthcare AI infrastructures, including training hubs and pilot deployment of AI tools in community hospitals and healthcare centers in the Commonwealth. And lastly, funding AI innovation infrastructure at academic and medical centers to help accelerate Pennsylvania's leadership in digital health, biomedical AI, and computational medicine. These investments will allow institutions like ours to continue catalyzing research, commercial partnerships, clinical integration, and education that fuel economic growth and healthcare excellence statewide. In conclusion, we believe AI is not the future, it is current and an urgent necessity. At CPACE and the University of Pittsburgh, we're laying the foundation for a future where AI is usable, ethical, and impactful for all. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has the opportunity to be the forefront of this transformation, as you guys had all mentioned. With your support, we can continue building a model that empowers clinicians, support innovation, improves care quality, and ensures that no community, urban or rural, is left behind. On behalf of CPACE, our School of Medicine, and the University of Pittsburgh as a whole, and our growing ecosystem of AI champions, I extend my deepest thanks for your time, your partnership, and your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rashidi. Ms. Dovin.
Here we go. I'm going to try to bring this down to
tax generation and jobs. Good morning, I'm Joanna Dovin, Executive Director of the AI Strike Team, a 24-month catalytic initiative launched to help our region and state seize its position in the new AI economy. Collaborate, push, and sometimes shove. The true north being investment and related job and population growth and tax generation. So what is the new AI economy? It's not just a new industry, it's a new epoch defined by massive innovation cycles that demand reindustrialization, resilient supply chains, and very deep resource collaboration. This economy is powered by graphic processing units, GPUs, also known as compute, and the silicon chips behind them. These engines are like trillions of mini brains operating and talking to each other in real time. They require advanced infrastructure, hardened environments, and access to power at a scale that eclipses industrial booms of the past. This is not fake news. This is not hypothetical. This is real. And economic reshuffling is already underway. For the first time since the 70s, so over 50 years, Barron's reported last weekend that heartland states are now outpacing the coastal states in economic growth. Just let that sink in. So why? From affordability to climate resilience, land, power, and a will to grow, many of these states have what is needed now in this new epoch. Some built strategies rooted in their existing assets. Some looked at where the puck was going and created new markets. But all of the winning states rolled out the red carpet for investment and removed the friction that too often delays innovation and related job growth. I'm talking white glove service. A few examples. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, a coordinated strategy around drones brought together R&D, advanced manufacturing, and real-world testing. The result? In a 4-year period, 2000 to 2024, 5,000 new jobs, 12% population growth, because energy begets energy. There's a flywheel effect. When things start happening, there's FOMO. New industries enter. More jobs get created. And for your, I think for what you care about most, you're going through a budget process right now. You're thinking about tax generation. In Tulsa, in a 1-year period, $1 billion in new annual tax revenue was driven by this industry. State and local taxes, paid taxes. In Columbus, data centers alone have brought in $931 million in local and state paid taxes last year. That's up 43% from the year prior. It's set to get up even higher in 25. I was in Monterrey, Mexico last week for the Global Institute on Innovation Districts Summit, where I spoke on a panel about the new AI economy. Next to me was an individual from Arizona. He works for the governor, and he's running economic policy. And he commented that the TSMC semiconductor facility there, $156 billion of investment, right? But it's still moving. That they're in budget negotiations. The sales tax projections far outpaced revenue assumptions, and they can't believe it. They're now able to negotiate better and to invest more. This is the new reality. The economic maps are being redrawn in real time, and the places that focus with speed, and the places that move and focus with speed will win. But I want to be clear, this moment isn't just about infrastructure or even about economics. It's about sovereignty, it's about security, it's about our children's future. It's about whether America and its allies will outpace China in the AI arms race, whether we will define the future of the internet, of warfare, of medicine, and let's be honest, of humankind, or whether it will be defined for us. At its core, this moment is about innovating and commercializing AI technologies at scale in the metros and states that produce AI products people want, like healthcare tools, and products the world desperately needs, security.
And in this context, Pennsylvania is exceptionally well positioned to lead. Consider where the investment or capital is going right now. In 2024, defense and healthcare AI saw 30% year-over-year growth, two sectors where we already have legacy expertise and potential unicorn companies right here. More than $150 billion in defense tech investment federally will be allocated in 2025. We should all view this as venture capital from Washington. It will either flow here, or it'll flow here a little bit, or a lot. PA already ranks number 7 nationally in DoD contract allocation. We have a strong legacy here. So this is a moment of obligation. AI is the new steel. We grew economies throughout PA, east, west, all over, by producing the steel that defeated tyranny. Now we must build the AI that does the same. Here are 3 things that we can work on together right now. And when I say together, multi-sector, the economic groups here, the tech councils throughout the state, we've all got to just roll up our sleeves and work together. First, quickly enact policies that spur the commercialization and growth of homegrown AI companies and also outbound the AI companies to come here. How? GPUs are the lifeblood of AI, and compute costs are increasing significantly for these AI companies. Let me talk about this real quick. So the AI Strike team did a compute survey. We spoke with about 5 emerging AI companies here, the big ones you read about in the news. We are in the age of agentic AI. What this means is we've been training large language models, requires a lot of compute for that, a lot of AI infrastructure, and now we're flipping the switch to AI deployment. This requires 100 times more compute. That is why when we talk about data centers and infrastructure, we're going to need more and more and more. So for an AI company to grow and scale, they need, number 1, people, right? Very smart people, and by the way, they're here. And number 2, access to these GPUs. Not just access, they have to pay for them. Consider that in the capital expenditures of these companies that could scale, grow, and be amazing for all of us. Consider that about 80% of their CapEx in the next 2 years is going to be compute costs. So what we can do is this. We can connect the data centers that are being built in Pennsylvania, powered by our natural gas, right, with powering the innovation economy by discounting compute for homegrown companies or companies who move here. I have a plan for that. I'm not going to talk about it now because I don't have time, but it's a private-to-private market play. No one is doing this. It's sovereign compute. Other countries are doing this. Nobody in the nation is doing this. Second, incentivize and market AI industrial growth zones. Former industrial steel sites and beyond should become AI factories with power, fiber, and permitting ready to go. We can't control all local permitting, but we can do a lot at the state. There are 600 components in one rack in a data center. That's the size of a refrigerator. There's a massive industrial supply chain in AI factories. Let's co-locate that industrial supply chain next to our data centers at former industrial sites and create a new model around not just nearshoring, but state shoring. Third, and this is where I was thinking about this last night, and let's iterate on this, but we need a bipartisan, nimble AI state investment strike team. I don't know what that looks like or how it's formed or how it's legislated. That's not my job. I don't do that. But we have to move quickly, and we've got to work together. First, we should build out the statewide defense tech supply chain and think big, right? Federal AI hubs, defense tech prime co-locations of units, coordinated DoD procurement pathways. It almost looks like this. You interview the top 25 companies that play in this space right now, and you ask them what they need. I've done this a bit already with local organizations. I can tell you we need SCIF space to be financed by the state because the private market cannot finance it. And there are companies here that can't even apply or look at RFQs and RFPs from the DoD because there's no secure facilities here. All right, I've talked a lot. The new AI economy demands more bipartisan and multi-sector collaboration, different economic models and ways of thinking, more speed, more investment, more signaling. This is why we were formed. We're acting as shock absorbers in this wild time in our history, and we're here to help collaborate and push. I'll leave you with this. I was at NVIDIA's Global Summit last month, and I was at a bar waiting to meet with somebody, and they were late. And so next to me, there was this guy that looked very interesting, and hard to talk to, but I got him to talk, and it turned out he was one of the 10 people at OpenAI that led the public launching of it at a time when, are the models safe? Should we do this? Is perfect the enemy of the good? All of these things. He's worked in AI his entire life, and what he said to me is, we had to get it out there because of Moore's law. Innovation would just keep innovating, because here's what AI is going to do. Without blinking, he said, our kids may never know the word cancer. That's the pace we're moving at. That's the scale of human ingenuity. And that's the scale of the opportunity that we all must meet together. Thank you.
Wow. Joining us online, Professor Wu, would you please begin?
Thank you for the dear committee member. Thank you for the opportunity for testimony. My name is Shandong Wu. I'm traveling, so cannot join in person. I'm very happy to give my statement. I'm a professor in the University of Pittsburgh, so I'm leading the Intelligent Computing for Clinical Imaging Lab. Our research really interfacing the computational science and the medical science. As you can see here, our research grounded on the multidisciplinary collaborations with data scientists and all clinicians and all different areas of researchers. Our research also strongly supported by funding from federal agencies, from industry and the private sectors. Just a few weeks, last week, we got a large research contract from NIH, $3.5 million so that we are leading a multimodal breast cancer AI research project. So in 2020, I founded the Pittsburgh Center for AI Innovation in Medical Imaging. This is really a truly cross-campus, cross-department school initiative. We're trying to bring researchers, clinicians, and working together. We're supported by the Provost Office and Senior Vice Chancellor for Research Office. This is the largest internal funding from our institution. We'll try to advance innovative AI research, clinical translation, education, try to leverage our strong computational expertise and resources in clinical aspect at Pittsburgh. Today, we have more than 100 members, half of them, roughly about half of them are clinicians working in this area. We also have built a strong partnership with national labs and industry and local community. I'll give you a few examples. We have done so many research projects. This is only a few to give you some real-world example how we are using AI to improve breast cancer diagnosis, to predict outcome for a patient with brain injury in ER settings, and also to help patients to understand whether treatment will be effective for them. Those research projects can really, really improve the better patient outcome and also help medical centers to be able to better do resource allocation and, more importantly, reduce healthcare costs, reduce a lot of unnecessary medical procedures and workflows, and also to improve patients' experience, reduce their stress. For AI education, we are designing innovative new initiative and program and courses for that. As my colleague, Dr. Rashidi mentioned, we have been developing basic basic courses program for all medical students, trainees, and medical professionals. I was in the committee a few years ago for UPMC medical student training curriculum reforming, where we have incorporated the AI concept in the new curriculum. And I'm also the course director, have designed and delivered mini courses for the students who are very interested to go deeper to learn AI. We have developed a professional enrichment courses. In the campus-wide, I'm leading teams to develop a certificate program and degree program. These are out of School of Health and School of Medicine area, but in a cross-campus area, we're trying to really bridge the medical, computational science, engineering together, design some new educational program. We are also engaging with local community and build our impact. So we have did several AI in healthcare conference and symposiums. We organized the first and delivered digital pathology transformation conference in the federal systems in DC 2 years ago. This really engaged a lot of federal ecosystem, including VA, CDC, NIH, and so on. Try to explore AI in digital pathology. We have explored AI's impact from the business perspective. We have done 2 conferences with School of Business here at the University of Pittsburgh. We also sponsored and lead one of the international workshop on medical AI application, and I'm the leader of the workshop building visibility and reputation for our institution and the University of Pittsburgh. We also work with local partners, for example, Jewish Healthcare Foundation. We have an initiative, Pittsburgh Regional Autonomous Patient Safety Initiative, try to leverage the AI strengths at University of Pittsburgh and also CMU to advance AI for patient safety. Pitt is committed to pursue responsible and trustworthy AI. Pitt is a member of the NIST Consortium on AI Safety. I'm also a member of that consortium. We have generated a report cross-campus wide on the responsible use of generative AI in research and education. This report is available online. So in order to develop trustworthy and responsible AI, we have been, the whole center has been working on many different areas of AI. For example, how do we increase acceptance of AI to the society? How do we study human factors? How do we study AI and liability issues, reduce disparities or issues, and also make sure AI is fair to all patients? And more importantly, make sure AI is safe and secure. This has really triggered several major research topics that are going on in our institution. For example, AI and cybersecurity, AI human collaboration, AI and the business and policy impact, and AI ethics and governance. We have a lot of opportunities. We also have a lot of challenges here. So we all know that AI is on the way to transform our society. It will not only just transform medicine, healthcare, energy, workforce, jobs, it will be affecting everybody. So we have to really get prepared for this. At Pitt, we're developing cutting-edge research. This is AI-driven innovation. As you can see, many of the project and initiative we have been doing, and also unique education program. We really need a lot of us and students or professionals, workers. They need AI education. We're trying to fill the AI knowledge gap, and for the workforce development, so that we can also train our next generation AI workforce. Pitt is really one of the leader. UTMC is one of the leader in health AI domain. Not only national, I think internationally, we're also one of the leader in this area. We strive to address AI ethics and governance challenges. We know this is not just AI techniques, but this has to do with everybody, with the society, with the engagement of all the communities. We using a human-centered approach for responsible AI. And also, we're trying to address many of the issues have to do with data, AI privacy, integrity, security, misinformation, and that potentially can generate harm or security issues. We're desired to partner with the state's legislation, the leaders, to use AI as a catalyst to expand or maintain our PA's competitiveness, to spur the economic growth, make sure the safety of our residents, and also the benefit to all Pennsylvanians. In order to do this, we really need a strong policy support. AI pose the challenges and need to customer policy support for growth of our AI efforts, and also need a strategic investment. Also need to attract and retain talents in Pennsylvania, create a safe environment for them to stay here. We also need to build a strong computational infrastructure. This will be, as the last speaker mentioned, this will be very important for our state to grow AI efforts and AI uses. Build a big data warehouse, because data is the source, the new oil of AI, of the new economy. So we need to build data warehouse. And also to build up a facility, some of the partnership between academics and industry. Honestly, with our lab, with our center, we have developed so many AI products. We like to work with industry to push them to the market and to the clinical side to really benefit patient health care. Also, strongly ask for maintain our federal funding support. As you can see, without funding support, many of the research are not able to achieve. So I also like to ask support or advocate that to University of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh it's really a good AI ecosystem. We have talents from Pitt and CMUs and strong medical resources. UPMC is one of the leaders in research in the world. So we are really better positioned to become an AI innovation hub. And Pitt is working to achieve this goal. And we like to partner with the AI, with the legislation and leaders of the state to achieve this goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. We're going to open the floor now for questions from members. I'd like to start off by recognizing Senator Pettycook.
Thank you. I have to tell you, I love your energy, and you're absolutely spot on. We are on the cutting edge. We either seize the opportunity and jump 100% in, or we're going to be passed by. And I totally agree with you. Tell me, if you can, what has been the decrease in research time as you employ AI in your medical research?
So you mean like in terms of like, you know, like non-AI research that's decreased, or?
So I was just recently at biotech, PA Biotech, and they have been able to shave off 5 years.
Oh,
with
I see.
AI
I see.
modeling.
Has an expert. Oh, yeah. No, that's a great point. So yes, I mean the future of research. I think we all within the research community agree that it's AI integrated. There's no doubt around that. There are different types of AI that we have in place, and that's why those review article series, I think, will educate the global community in terms of what they are. Because right now, when you ask the average person, they automatically think about ChatGPT, and that's not the AI we've been using within our healthcare space. So within our healthcare space, we've been using non-generative AI for decades. And it's part of your care, actually, and many patients don't know about this. But it's part of a way that your practitioners can actually expedite your care, make sure that they have more accurate care. And so these AI tools are in place, but they also have their own limitations. None of these tools are perfect. Now, they are expediting our research, our clinical efforts in terms of care, and mostly what I'm going to be speaking on is on translational research. As I'm also I cover our leukemia lymphoma service as a diagnostic hematologist, and so as a physician, I also have to think about what kind of AI tools are hype and which ones are actually realistic that can actually help our workflow. And so we have found a nice balance between non-generative AI tools, like things that can tell the diagnostician if you have cancer or not that somebody would have missed, or generative AI tools where instead of you spending 30 minutes in a doctor's office and they're standing behind the computer and typing and not paying attention to you, the AI tool, that's the generative AI, could actually be dictating for the doctor and let the doctor be more of a doctor, or the practitioner, as practitioners, PA, be more their caregivers that they need to be. So I think that's the part that's going to enhance. The research part is a whole other realm, which is we are, right now, we're at, as was mentioned, we're at the age of agentic frameworks, meaning that these new AI tools that we have, they can actually cross-talk with each other. And having a crosstalk within these AI platforms, and that's going to be the future, there's no doubt. And so that will drastically expedite our discovery phases. So something that would have taken years to come up with, let's say a drug of interest or a diagnostic platform of interest, would actually be now done within days or weeks now. Sounds crazy, but that's just the reality that we're living in.
What do you anticipate to be the cost savings with the AI application within the research and medical fields? And where do you think the increase in cost is going to be? Obviously, it's power. We know it's power. I have 3 data centers going in next to my nuclear power plant. Smart move on their part.
Yeah.
But where do you see that vacuum of what you need, like today, to continue this momentum?
Yeah, so we need a few things. One is, we were just chatting in the hallway, just a few minutes, like right before the session, which is that I vision AI as being part of everyone's. I kind of see it as the AI tsunami as kind of like the new internet revolution that we had. So when internet first came out, you weren't thinking about what kind of a cost savings and various other industries that would pop up. And same thing will be happening within AI. There's going to be lots of industries that we can think of, and I can guarantee you there'll be, I'm sure we all agree, that there'll be just as many, if not more, industries that we're not thinking about, we can't even imagine, that are going to pop up as well. So, but how do we prepare your actual public to actually be part of this process? And I think a way to you can't prevent it from happening in terms of upskilling and reskilling folks, but this is our opportunity to be able to, through education, find ways that could actually reskill, upskill folks, and minimize that transition time from them going from one job type to another. So I think cost saving wise, there is, I would say our biggest cost center, if you will, within any kind of a research facility is what we call FTEs. It's our workforce. Okay. And so if we are using AI to expedite the workforce, and we have more of them through education, that alone is going to be the biggest cost saver in terms of what we're going to do. So yeah, the initial investment may seem kind of like necessary, but a reasonable investment to actually tackle. But what it's going to actually spit out is going to be tenfolds and as an ROI and return on investment. So I think there's the cost saving from a standpoint of people standpoint.
Thank you.
Dr. Wu, you have your hand up. Would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, to add a few points. I think research-wise, with AI has become more a main tool and engine for many of the researchers, even they're working on different fields in the medicine and healthcare. So it's going to be really have some transformative power to make our research more efficient, make some of the products will be more, maybe quicker and reduce a lot of the cost. For example, drug discoveries. Nowadays, we do a lot of virtual clinical trials. You don't really need to do very expensive trials like you did traditionally. So these are going to be really have a lot of power for the changes. In terms of saving costs, and I also agree that I think there will be workforce, impacting the workforces. With AI as a tool, people can do things much, better and more efficient, because AI can do 2 things in the healthcare domain. Really, one is to make our work more efficient. We call it workflow AI. It makes things easier, make clinician time, make their work quicker so they have more time to do other more valuable work, and also make some of the work we call interpretive AI to make things more accurate, better, reduce patient burdens on that. So these are and also provide some new information that is currently not available, because by looking at the data, the power of the data, we are able to get new information to support our decision making for the clinicians. So yeah, I just want to add on this, and also because of AI now, the boundary between subjects, between the different disciplinary departments or different research areas is weakening that boundaries. Everything's coming to AI, the NG, and I can tell you one of the conference that I attended this year early, 70% of the paper from different fields self-identified AI-based work. So really, it's all driven by AI right now, even though they're from different areas. So some of the things that I talked about today not only apply to healthcare and medicine, but it can be applied to other areas as well. So just want to add on that.
Thank you all very much. We'll turn to our second panel. Also note we've been joined by Representative Nelson and Representative Mostello.
Thank you.
All right, our second panel will begin with our host, Dr. Andrew Horchler, the Chief Research Officer here at Astrobotic, Christopher Martin, the Senior Director of the AI Hub at BNI, and Dr. Bruno Abreu, the Deputy Scientific Director at the Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center. Dr. Horchler, you would begin, please.
Good morning, Chair Argel, Chair Rowe, and members of the House and Senate Republican Policy Committees. Thank you for this opportunity to testify before you today. I'd like to first personally welcome you to the Moonshot Museum. Moonshot was co-founded as an independent 501(c) nonprofit in 2022 to inspire young people to find their place in the future of space exploration through innovative exhibitions and programs fueled by space, science, engineering, and the arts. As you can see, Moonshot looks right into the clean room at Astrobotic and provides students the opportunity to see real lunar spacecraft under active assembly. No other museum in the world offers public such direct exposure to the 21st century space industry, of which the Commonwealth is increasingly playing a leading role. I represent Astrobotic, an aerospace company founded right here in Pittsburgh in 2007. We're the largest NASA contractor in Pennsylvania and a major logistics and infrastructure provider for America's return to the moon. Our company has 240 full-time employees with locations here in Pittsburgh and Mojave, California. We were founded to make space accessible to the world, and to that end, we are pioneering space robotic services that launch customer hardware on suborbital rocket test flights before they fly in space, land customer payloads on the moon aboard our robotic lunar lander delivery vehicles, and power customers to operate continuously on the moon using our lunar surface power grid infrastructure. In 2024, we launched the first American commercial spacecraft to operate at lunar distance, which was the first mission for NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services initiative. Our next lunar mission will launch our larger Griffin lander to the south pole of the moon in late 2025 and is the vehicle being assembled here in the clean room today. As we prepare for our next lander mission, we're also developing LunarGrid, which will provide reliable, constant power to enable permanent human and robotic presence on the moon. This is critical infrastructure for American space leadership. In fact, LunarGrid is planned for deployment in the late 2020s, and I invite you to tour some of the hardware being developed for LunarGrid on display here in the Moonshot Museum. As a Pennsylvania proud business, we have contracted with 158 companies in the state to execute our space programs. As a prime contractor, we pursue small business suppliers as our first preference and seek to enhance Pennsylvania's national reputation as a destination for creating, attracting, and retaining startup companies and entrepreneurial talent. We are the first major flagship space program in the Commonwealth and the start of a new space ecosystem. It is with that vision in mind that I'm pleased to speak today on the importance of artificial intelligence in space. AI is not just a tool, it is a force multiplier for space missions. It empowers spacecraft, landers, and rovers to make decisions in real time, safely navigate uncharted terrain, and make better use of limited communications and commuting resources in space. With onboard intelligence, robotic spacecraft can make faster, better-informed decisions in the space environment rather than waiting for ground controllers. This saves precious communications bandwidth for more science, exploration, and commercial activity, and speeds up operation times for assets like lunar landers, rovers, and satellites. Simply put, AI saves time and money in space. In Astrobotic's case, we're developing two immediate applications for AI that are making our missions smarter and cheaper. First, precisely landing on the moon without GPS while avoiding rocks and craters at the touchdown site requires complex coordination between lander systems. These robotic systems must do the job of Neil Armstrong when he safely landed Apollo 11. Astrobotic is developing AI-powered sensor solutions and software to match images during landing to a map of the lunar surface and detect and avoid hazards at the landing site. These sensors employ trained neural network models to perceive and reliably interpret the terrain, ultimately ensuring mission success. Second, our upcoming small rover that will fly aboard the Griffin lander to the lunar South Pole at the end of this year will demonstrate onboard AI software for rover operations. This system will enhance the mobility and autonomy of planetary rovers by providing operators in Astrobotics Pittsburgh Mission Control Center with responsive and intuitive feedback to make rapid decisions in one of the harshest environments we've ever operated robotic systems. Modern AI systems are powered by state-of-the-art computing. In space, AI software requires specialized hardware for reliable operation in the space environment. Astrobotic is developing next-generation space computing solutions to enable efficient deployment of neural networks and machine learning models on orbiting spacecraft, planetary landers, and rovers. As a company headquartered in Pennsylvania, we are proud to be part of a thriving regional ecosystem advancing this critical field. Institutions such as Carnegie Mellon University, the University of Pittsburgh, and numerous private sector leaders have established the Commonwealth as a hub for AI innovation. We're also glad to be part of the Keystone Space Collaborative, a nonprofit championing the $2.9 billion space industry across Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, and supporting a growing network of companies advancing cutting-edge AI. In closing, I applaud the committee's interest in supporting AI initiatives that put our Commonwealth and our nation at the leading edge of innovation. Astrobotic stands ready to be a partner in keeping Pennsylvania a leader in AI. Thank you. I look forward to questions.
Thank you. Mr. Martin.
Good morning, Chair Argyle, Chair Rowe, Senator Pennycook. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today. I also want to thank very much the Astrobotic and Moonshot teams for hosting us in this amazing and inspiring facility that we have here today. My name is Christopher Martin, and I have served as a Senior Director at BNY's AI Hub, based right here in our Pittsburgh office. BNY is the nation's oldest bank. We've been an integral part of downtown Pittsburgh for more than 150 years, ever since Andrew Mellon founded what would become Mellon Financial, which was eventually merged with BNY in 2007. For more than 240 years, BNY has partnered alongside clients, putting our expertise in platforms to work with them to help them achieve their ambitions. Today, BNY's Pittsburgh office, one of our largest in North America, serves more than 500 regional clients, including state and local governments, pension and mutual funds, labor unions, endowments, and individual investors. We have a different business model compared to a traditional retail bank. Our core business is to provide custody and other financial services to governments and institutions, not consumer banking. As we've heard a lot about today, AI is not a new concept. It has certainly been around for years, and now recent technological advancements have paved the way for exciting new applications, not least of which going to the moon. At BNY, AI enables us to process vast amounts of data, identify difficult to discern patterns, and make better decisions more quickly. This allows us to drive better outcomes for our clients and make financial markets more resilient. Our journey with AI is about delivering tangible outcomes, providing more value to our clients, and simplifying our processes to stay ahead of the curve. To do this, we're investing in AI research and development, collaborating with fintech companies, seeking the best talent, and upskilling our workforce to work effectively with AI systems. To facilitate that, we started our AI Hub in 2023 with a small team of high-performing, multidisciplinary individuals, and now, as a result of those efforts, have more than 40 AI solutions in production. Let me share two examples. First, we use artificial intelligence for liquidity management to help forecast cash balances and enable more efficient use of daily reserves for BNY and our clients. This enhances our risk management and operational efficiency and allows our clients to manage their money more effectively. Second, we use AI for predictive trade analytics to provide near real-time trade settlement insight, helping clients identify settlement risks early and take action to mitigate potential late settlements. In exploring potential uses of AI, we believe that governance and risk management are paramount. We develop and deploy AI within a robust governance framework, including comprehensive oversight of the models we use. Pennsylvania plays a significant role in shaping BNY's future. Pittsburgh is a prime location to attract and grow top talent with proximity to excellent educational institutions and a deep talent pool. That's why BNY is making investments to power the future of finance on a global scale from right here in Pennsylvania. BNY is a major recruiter from top universities, including Carnegie Mellon University, which I'm proud to call my alma mater. Notably, we have been involved with their Masters in Artificial Intelligence Innovation program since its introduction. We sponsor the program's annual capstone competition, where our leaders mentor students on projects that deliver real-world outcomes. This is just one example of how BNY continues to be one of the leading recruiters of AI talent in the Pittsburgh area. Beyond CMU, our talent pool also includes other great universities like Pitt, where BNY is a top recruiter of graduates, Duquesne, and Penn State. This year, BNY will bring on 269 interns and provide roles for 224 graduates in our analyst program in Pittsburgh alone. BNY will continue to invest in Pittsburgh over the next several years, both through these invaluable partnerships with universities and by creating a world-class downtown campus at our 500 Ross Street location. Hopefully this is very clear. BNY is fully committed to Pennsylvania, and we are keenly focused on bringing the next generation of talent into BNY and on our AI journey. As the committee considers how to best promote AI innovation in Pennsylvania, we would encourage you to prioritize policies that do three things. First, attract and retain Pennsylvania graduates in the state after graduation. This is critical for companies like BNY that have invested in early career talent. Second, cultivate a vibrant AI ecosystem in southwestern Pennsylvania. This helps traditional industries stay competitive and promotes local talent. Finally, we can promote a vibrant and safe downtown Pittsburgh, which BNY is committed to and where employees, clients, and partners want to live, work, and play. In conclusion, the successful integration of AI into financial services requires innovation, education, and investment. We look forward to working with you to ensure that AI is developed and deployed in a way that benefits everyone, with our region playing a leading role in shaping the future of this exciting field. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Abreu.
Honorable Chair, good morning. Good morning, representatives, senators. It's a great pleasure to be here with my fellow panelists. Thanks for inviting me. So I'm Bruno Abreu. I'm the Deputy Scientific Director of the Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center, and what I'm going to try to do in the next 5 minutes or so is tell you what do we do and how do we fit into your mission of innovating with AI in the state of Pennsylvania. So the Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center is a joint research center between Carnegie Mellon University and the University of Pittsburgh. We've been around since 1986, and what we do is we operate, we deploy, and we maintain supercomputers and other advanced computing systems. We've been doing that for 4 decades now. We are one of the 4 supercomputing centers in the nation, and we operate the only publicly available supercomputer in the state of Pennsylvania. The community that we serve, it's not only southwestern Pennsylvania, it's across the state. We have users from all the major institutions in Pennsylvania and also from all 50 states in the United States with our funding streams from the National Science Foundation, from the National Institutes of Health, and the Department of Energy. So to talk about the impact of AI and how it's changing the way we do things, I kind of want to split things in 3 main buckets here. The first one being research and development for industry, but also academic research, scientific research at the academic institution. So in that space, AI, as my fellow panelist was just saying, it has become a force multiplier. It's doing what we name it in the research computing landscape. It's doing what it's shortening the time to discovery or time to science, or accelerating these development cycles. There are many examples for this, from weather forecasting to digital agriculture. There are many things that personalized healthcare. We had other panelists in the previous panel talking about this. So it's all over the space. It's really a tool that kind of allows people to not only shortening their their cycles, but also like do things that were actually impossible to do before, right? So it's not like Senator Tracy had a question about what's how much faster can you run. It's not only about how much faster. It's actually like some things that AI is allowing were not even possible before. So I can't tell you how faster it is because it was just not possible before, right? So in the research and development landscape, that's what's going on, right? So and we have thousands of users that we support every year that are running AI workloads in our systems. Right now, there's probably hundreds of them, and several of them are running AI workloads. So that's one of the main areas that we work, research and development for industries. We support academic institutions, we support business, we support startups, and we support companies as well. And of course, there's the education component to it, so I'm going to get to this in a minute. And the second bucket, it's about cyber infrastructure, right? So we're talking about these advanced computing systems, and you were talking about AI infrastructure. I really like to think about this as really basic infrastructure. Like we built, roads and railways to move people and move goods around. We built electricity grids and power plants to produce energy and move energy around. what cyber infrastructure is about today is moving data, right? So we need data centers to produce and store data, and we need to tightly integrate them through high-speed networks to connect these data centers. AI is not only about processing power, it is about processing power, GPUs, things that can process information real fast, but it's mostly about data, right? So what happened with AI over the last decade or so, the boom, it's not only about being able to process the information at the speed that we need to train these models, but it's also like, how do you feed them? You know, if you feed garbage into a model, you're going to get garbage. So it's really about how we create this infrastructure that allows us to gather and distribute high-value data such that our AI infrastructure, our AI models are reliable, are trustable, and are accurate. So we've been doing this for decades now. The last 3 or 4 systems that we have deployed, supercomputers, they are specialized for AI applications. They have hundreds of GPUs, and we support with our flagship system today, Bridges 2, we support over 4,000 users every year. The last component to this, right, we talked about infrastructure, we talked about research and development, but there's, of course, the human component to this, the people. You don't have infrastructure if you don't have people. You don't have research if you don't have people, right? So it's all about workforce development. So our mission here is in this space is to actually empower people with the skills that they need to actually take advantage of these technologies. So we have programs that all across the state, from institutions from PASHE schools and community colleges, and we're teaching them how to use these tools. We're bringing the supercomputers into their classroom. So workforce development, without having the people with the right skills, we're never going to be able to deliver on the mission of AI innovation. Without having the cyber infrastructure needed, we're not going to be able to deliver in the mission of AI innovation. And without having the research and development components, we're not going to have the economic impact that we want out of this. So to close, I want to say that we are a real asset. We've been doing these things for 40 years now, and we're very eager to collaborate with you. And you know, we're just here to make this a larger impact across the state. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. We have 6 questions from members, but given our shortage of time, I would ask that both members and testifiers be brief with your questions and answers so we can get through as many as we can. Representative Shalaba.
Thank you, Chairman. I've spoken with the strike team. I've spoken at length with Joanna. We are actually crafting that competitive compute policy, which will be the first in the nation. I've spoken with the Army. I've spoken with a lot of other stakeholders, Amazon in the field. I've spoken with AHN, Bayer, UPMC. I've spoken with those in the financial sector. No matter what area of our lives we look at across the Commonwealth, whether we're looking from a human perspective or whether we're looking from an actual industry perspective, AI is everywhere. But AI isn't necessarily new. This is something that takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of time and detail, attention to detail. We have to make sure whatever we do properly, that it's appropriate, that it's tailored to the specific industry or the specific area that we're seeking to cultivate. So while not new, it does require novel solutions and I think novel partnerships. Given the constraint that we have on time, I wanted to ask each of you if you could pick one area to prioritize, one thing that we need to address today to help capitalize and catalyze this important piece of our future in Pennsylvania, what would it be?
One area certainly is ensuring a good business environment for the commercial industries of all types that want to make their home here in Pennsylvania through tax credits or other means, and certainly ensuring that that workforce that we need, that is critical, you know, the tech workers who are going to be in this area, whether they're managing data centers or doing the AI research or healthcare or engineering, they want to call this home.
Yeah, maybe to build on that is very much we talk about the AI ecosystem, and not just Pittsburgh, but southwestern Pennsylvania. You know, in the Commonwealth, there are so many opportunities really across the board to spur public-private partnerships, our partnerships with leading universities, whether it's Pitt, CMU, whatever we can do to promote that business environment, to promote those collaborations, to drive incentives for not just companies that are based here. I think also, as Joanna highlighted, to bring in companies from outside of the region to invest here. Whatever we can do to grow that pie, I think that will have a knock-on benefit. At the end of the day, an exciting thing that has developed over my last 20 years working in this field here in Pittsburgh was, 20 years ago, you very much had to cajole somebody and say, come on to Pittsburgh, it's fine, you can buy a house, don't worry, everything's cool. Now there's a growing community of people with cybersecurity, privacy specialists, artificial intelligence. So we are happy to have that pie growing, that growing. No matter what profession you're in, you really don't want to be out on an island. And so this is an opportunity that we have as a region to attract professionals here, the businesses that they work for, the investment, the ideas that we're bringing. Anything we can do to promote that, I think that's a win for our region.
I'm going to talk about the cyber infrastructure because that's a lot of what we do, of course. So it's really, again, about moving data, right? So I'm not talking about only data from finance and things like that. I'm talking about data that's coming from sensors that are remote out there in the field, that's coming from instruments that are at the lab levels of these academic institutions. All of this needs to be put together. And no single institution, academic, research-based, has the power or the actual money to buy at the scale that it's needed to process these things now. And certainly most business don't have that power. These AI workloads, they scale really, really fast and really big. So if you want to do these things, we need to pool resources. And we need to create the cyber infrastructure across the state. So that's what I think we need to do.
Thank you.
Representative Ledbetter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for being here. Thanks to the testifiers from the prior panel as well. I want to speak to Pennsylvanians for a moment and just concretize how this impacts them, and then I'm going to pivot to a question for you all. In the previous panel, it was mentioned that $1 billion in new revenue had been generated through this space in states like Oklahoma, 43% year-over-year increases in new revenue generation in states like Ohio, just to the west of us. And when we see the resources that are necessary to provide to society, enable for them to function and prosper, we also have this immense burden that we're anticipating. At a federal level, Medicare is projected to be insolvent by 2036. Social Security disability insurance is projected to be insolvent by 2035. Here within the Commonwealth, the IFO projected accurately that we have over a $3 billion deficit within not only this past legislative budget, but the one that we're anticipating and has been proposed by the governor. These are things that make this conversation relevant to everyone in Pennsylvania. And when we consider the ROI of when government gets involved, there are great examples. One that comes to mind is the $100,000 that we invest in the Economic Trade Office in Taiwan that results in millions of dollars in exports of Pennsylvania goods outside of the state, and tens of thousands of jobs that are generated. This is the type of government engagement that fosters the growth that we are seeking to compel within the industry of artificial intelligence and data centers. One thing that was mentioned, I believe by you, Doctor, was this accelerating development cycles across industries. This panel and the prior panel included testimony from banking and finance, research and development, medicine, aeronautical science, and the list goes on. But from our perspective as lawmakers, when crafting policy, I would ask you all, when we seek to advocate legislation that is reliable, trustable, and accurate, where are the biggest regulatory hurdles that you are seeing that is preventing this type of prosperity from coming to Pennsylvania?
One area I can speak to, was alluded to earlier, is a connection with defense, national security, which has some of its own constraints and challenges. The SCIF, for example, and other infrastructure that is invaluable to a lot of the work we could be doing in this region, but is, along with the computing and the networks and everything else, something that no one company generally can pull together and bring together, but is something that can benefit many, many different companies together. So one item.
maybe from the financial service perspective, we are one of the most heavily regulated industries, out there, and correctly so. BNY alone, we have $50 trillion in assets under custody, right? I joined BNY about a year ago, and that number still boggles, my mind, 3-4x like U.S. GDP, that we're entrusted with from our clients. Ultimately, with this, you asked about how do we optimize regulation in this sector. In my role at BNY, I often kind of reflect on sort of being a little bit of a traffic cop. My job is to drive AI innovation at BNY, right up until that speed limit, but no further, right? We don't want to leave something on the table by not taking advantage of an opportunity out there, but certainly we do not want to exceed the remit of our regulators, of our internal stakeholders, et cetera. So I think this is looking for opportunities to say whether it's complement on federal regulation, as well as to spur innovation in terms of how we would meet those regulatory expectations that we have. I think that's also an emerging field, whether it's a technology, policy, things at the intersection of that. We have great partners here in the region, again, Carnegie Mellon, Pitt, Duquesne, with expertise in whether it's in legal, in policy, and so looking for ways to more efficiently meet our regulatory expectations while also not unduly slowing us down in a way where maybe it's not adding value.
I'm just going to say that we largely operate on the open science environment, but we also work with folks that have sensitive and proprietary data. And one major challenge for us is how do we create these policies that allow people to have rights over data to collaborate and work together to build these big AI models, right? A critical aspect of training AI models is high-value data. There are buckets of high-value data in different sectors, and if you want to expand and train these foundation models that can do multiple things across multiple types of data sources, we need to find ways to collaborate and share data.
Thank you.
Representative Gatos.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I guess, the singularity is nearer, even more nearer. But if I can recognize Sam DeMarco is here with U.S. Senator McCormick's office. So thank you, Sam, for being here. So, I want to shift gears a little bit because you talk about young people and you talk about the employees that you have. You have 240 employees, and this is sort of a multi-part question. Out of those 240 employees, where are most of them coming from?
We pull quite widely across the country, but many alums of Carnegie Mellon, Pitt, I work with day to day. So I think there's a good number from the local region. We get people who've worked elsewhere outside the state in the space industry or related defense industries for many years, but grew up in the area and want to come back, be with their family in this area, and others, looking to find a good place to live and a good environment to grow a family, good financially for their personal finances. So I would say we need to pull in many cases from out the state for some of the space stuff we do. But it is a challenge to keep people here in the region. We need them to see that they're not coming to Pittsburgh to one company, and if that doesn't work out, that it's a miss. We want them to be comfortable in the same way they'd be comfortable going to other cities that have a large set of opportunities here to do, and I think they will also feel comfortable that they'll get opportunities to collaborate and work in a diverse environment across diverse types of challenges because of what we do here in Pittsburgh.
So what is the number one thing that you would say that when people make the decision to come here that we as policymakers can accentuate that or accelerate that in this particular region? And of course, I personally am partial to Western Pennsylvania and particularly Pittsburgh, and I certainly give you a lot of accolades for drawing and attracting people to come here, because we all know that success begets success, and anything that we can do to certainly help you do that. But my concern is when you mention young people, when you're looking at, and the previous speaker talked about mostly higher education, what they're doing in AI and training. But my concern is on the lower level, elementary schools. What are we doing now to, and what can we do to make sure that these kids have critical thinking? Because we know that AI is going to move so fast that the current models of education are going to be fast obsolete, because memorizing and taking the tests that we're taking, it's critical thinking. What would you say and you recommend that we could be doing as policymakers to encourage that level of critical thinking?
Representative, I have a 5-year-old, so I'm living that world, certainly. So, yes, it's transformative in many ways, similar to how the internet transformed education. I grew up going to school without that, went to college, and it was there all of a sudden. I think first it requires their teachers be informed. We talked about reskilling folks here. It's not just curriculums. The teachers themselves that need to be informed. Otherwise, they're going to be also behind in many of the same ways to give those opportunities. I think it's so pervasive, ultimately. I think there's going to be many emerging opportunities for both the students to learn and others to learn in the same way that the internet emerged slowly but surely. This is at a faster pace, so there's more impetus to help push it in the right direction ultimately. So I think the teachers, my daughter, looks up to her teachers and values that, and I think we need to make sure that those folks can really shepherd their students through this, and then we can start looking at aspects of curriculum. But I see AI as a tool. It is not any different than any other tools that students may have access, through their library or other things like that, and they need to have an understanding of it, an appreciation for the good and the bad, like anything else.
And if I might just build on Andrew, you're being very modest. You said AI is a tool, and you're absolutely correct. In many ways, it's the how. Let us not forget. This is the what and the why. Right?
It's additive.
Place like yours
it's additive. It's not to replace.
Exactly. And I really want to give credit to you and the Astrobotic team in launching the Moonshot Museum. I had an opportunity to speak. BNY recently invested in what's called the Fab Lab, so one of these maker spaces over at the Carnegie Science Center, just down the street here. These places are so important to inspiring people in terms of those critical thinking skills. Like the AI is in many ways very digital at the moment. We should not forget about the physical. And so these places that again, the credit to the Astrobotic team for allowing us to sit right next to something that is going into space. I'm also projecting a little bit. I became an engineer because my parents took me to my regional science center back in the day, and that was what inspired me to do this. So that complementing, inspiring, why are we doing things not just, they're AI this or AI that. Of course, it's an important tool, but investing in places like this, like our regional science centers, like our museums, I think that's also critical for the future of education in the Commonwealth.
I definitely agree with what my fellow panelists said. I think that, even for an expert these days, things are moving so fast that it's hard to catch up, right? So I think it's critical for policies to define where does the state want to go, give us a north, because then we can kind of keep people informed according to that plan. I think that's what we're lacking right now.
Well, the lens in which I view this whole process is my friend and grade school classmate, Colonel Mike Fink, is now going to be going up into the International Space Station on the SpaceX team, Crew 11. So I think of just from being in grade school and what was fostering that kind of interest. And I just think that we need to do more of that and less of testing and just rigid curriculum, because I think that creativity and critical thinking skills are something that we really need to address. So thank you.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you all for your testimony. It's very exciting, the economic development prospects of this this opportunity, which is why I'm here. And I love the reference to this being the new steel, because I come from a town that's been decimated because of the downfall of this industry. But one thing we've not talked about, and Mr. Martin, you bring it up in your testimony, but I'd like you to talk more about it, especially in the banking industry. You say that you've built on secure foundations with responsible AI guardrails. Talk to us, because I know, from my constituents' perspective, AI is a scary thing, and we want to know that there are safeguards in place. So can you talk to us about what that means in the financial industry, how you're doing that?
Sure, and thank you for the question, Representative. Let me come back to something that always anchors pretty much everything we do at BNY. You'll often hear our CEO talk about resilience being commercial, right? The volume, the assets that we are entrusted to manage and to secure from our clients is paramount in everything that we do. Being around for 240 years, you're not just chasing the latest fad. We have a long history investing and taking advantage of new technologies. And in many ways, AI is viewed through that very critical governance lens and additional safeguards that we have placed on it. Let me give you one particular example. No matter if you would like to undertake an AI effort at BNY, the very first thing that is expected is you go through an analysis of the data that you would like to use to ensure that it is appropriate that you use that data and how you're going to use it as well. I won't get into all these details about different AI models and all this kind of stuff, but there's different consequences, shall we say, potential consequences depending on the type of AI that you would like to apply. So that's one specific example of literally the very first process of anybody at BNY has to go through and ensure that the data that they would like to use is fit for purpose for what they would like to use it for. And then there's a number of toll gates and examination points downstream. I mentioned when we founded the AI Hub, it's not just a bunch of scientists and engineers. It's a very multidisciplinary team, including one of my colleagues who's in the room here based in Pittsburgh, representing everything from legal, from model risk, to data risk, to compliance, the entire field. So we have a group of multidisciplinary professionals that examine over the course of a life cycle, right from the very beginning until something that goes into production. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll appreciate this panel. We'll turn to the next one. But Dr. Hortler, I just need to note that I'm sitting here and I've noticed your museum. Is there anything in this city where the primary colors are not gold and black? You guys think of everything. Thank you very much. We're about to be joined by Matt Smith from the Allegheny Conference of Community Development, one of our colleagues from a previous decade in the House and Senate, and also Ken Zapinski from Pittsburgh Works Together. Mr. Smith, if you would like to begin, and to be followed by Mr. Zapinski. Mr. Smith is online.
It's great to be with you, Chairman, and I apologize for being online and not being there in person for this very informative testimony. I had surgery and still lack a little bit of mobility, so hopefully on the mend here, but I appreciate the discussion. I think, it's an honor for me to be here as the Chief Growth Officer of the Allegheny Conference on Community Development and see so many of my former colleagues and provide this testimony regarding the future of artificial intelligence innovation and its potential, most importantly, I think, for positive economic impact and economic growth in southwestern Pennsylvania. And I think the committee, has really seen this morning the full breadth of our strengths in the Pittsburgh region. 2 R1 research institutions, you see the commercialization with companies like BNY and Astrobotic, and then you also see the ecosystem leaders, Joanna Dovin from the AI Strike Team, and on that note, we really have a unique, we always call it our secret sauce in Western Pennsylvania. We have a unique degree of collaboration, and we have a lot of organizations involved in this very same issue who are collaborating to move public policy, move economic growth, from the Pittsburgh Robotics Network, the Pittsburgh Tech Council, the AI Strike Team, as I mentioned, CMU and Pitt, RIDC, and of course the Keystone Space Collaborative. All of those organizations work very well together and collaborate for the purpose of driving this really unique potential in the Western Pennsylvania region, and hopefully catalyzing on what we should catalyze. And that's really one of my primary points. We have a wonderful set of cards that we're holding. In many ways, we have many trump cards in this equation, but it's not going to happen on its own. It's not going to happen without really smart and strategic investments. It's not going to happen without thoughtful public policy, whether that be at the state level in the discussion today, or certainly at the federal level. And I think that's a really key point that I'd love for everyone to take away. Through our work at the conference to enhance the region's economic competitiveness, that we have identified several priority industries that have great potential to spur business attraction and retention, and that's really what we're after. We want to make sure, as Joanna said, we're attracting outbound business investment, but we also want to make sure that we're capturing that next dollar of investment from great companies that are already here, like BNY and Astrobotic. AI is a natural fit and economic focus for several reasons. As I mentioned, proximity to the world-class academic and research institutions that we have in this region, a talented workforce, and proximity to abundant natural resources to power this technology, particularly our abundant source of natural gas in southwestern Pennsylvania. While AI is already revolutionizing industries and generating new jobs, it's also increasing our energy demand at an unprecedented rate, and that's putting pressure on the system. And where that pressure is on the system and the need for power is only going to increase significantly over the next couple of years, we see that as a significant opportunity for southwestern Pennsylvania to solve one of the world's largest problems that everyone will face over the coming future, and that's the need for power generation. We're working closely with energy industry leaders to identify short and long-term solutions that will solve our grid reliability issues. We believe that by unlocking the full potential of natural gas, we could be nimble and take advantage of the AI innovation opportunities that are presented to us today. In the long term, we want to position the region as a first mover for advanced nuclear deployment, which will ensure a reliable energy future that we all seek. Pairing natural gas and nuclear energy with investments in grid reliability and energy tech further strengthens our energy position. Without reliable and affordable baseload energy supply, the region will have no path forward with economic growth that we all want to see. Businesses, importantly, are already taking note of the energy opportunities abounding in our region. Just in the last 6 months, the region has seen several major companies invest in significant plant expansions into our region, including Mitsubishi Electric Power Products, Inc., which broke ground within the last couple of weeks on a new advanced switchgear facility in, I believe, Representative Kozak's district. Thank you for your support, Rep, on that particular project. We've seen EOS Energy expanding in the Mon Valley, Hitachi Energy announcing a major investment in Westmoreland County, and last year we were able to secure investment and a commitment from Mainspring Energy with big thanks to Representative Gatos and Senator Robinson. And Mainspring Energy is manufacturing linear generators that will be used side by side with data centers to provide power. And so a really significant investment. When paired with forward-thinking regulatory frameworks and incentives like the Carbon Dioxide Geologic Sequestration Primacy Act and the PA Sites program, which you all supported and we greatly appreciate, Pennsylvania is attracting new business and supporting existing ones that develop energy solutions and tech that can grow our regional economy. A great example of this coming to life, two great examples recently. One is the recent announcement of the largest gas-fueled power plant in the United States at the Homer City generating station in Indiana County. This project was designed to leverage pre-existing infrastructure in our region's natural gas to capitalize on the energy demands to power AI and cloud computing applications that Joanna talked about earlier. Another recent win for southwestern Pennsylvania comes from a very unique strategic alliance that was actually announced last week. between Liberty Energy, Imperial Land Corporation, and Range Resources to support the development of a power generation facility within the Fort Cherry Development District in Washington County that is dedicated specifically to meet the demands, the energy demands of data centers and other high-end energy users. Important point about that particular project, and something that comes into play where policies that might not ordinarily seem directly related to this issue are actually supporting this issue. That development district was in large part unlocked through critical transportation infrastructure investments that were brought to bear through Act 89, which many of you supported and I supported about 10 years ago. And so even when we're talking about infrastructure investments like that, we're doing so with an eye towards leveraging our energy future and our AI future. There's more growth to come if we harness the AI boom to our competitive advantage. And as Joanna said, we are in a competitive race right now, not only with other states, but with countries around the globe to be a leader in this space. The Pittsburgh region is perfectly positioned to be a global center of excellence in this space, but we must be vigilant with that competitiveness. By creating healthy host conditions for business investment, which we've seen you all and your colleagues in the General Assembly make in recent years with the phase down of the corporate net income tax rate, increasing the cap on NOL deductions, permitting reforms, which is absolutely critical path and very front and center for these projects, we can unlock the economic and energy benefits of data centers. We must take a proactive approach and align policy with this opportunity. This means continuing the pro-growth policies this caucus, both on the House and Senate side, have championed, paired with new and flexible business attraction tools, many of which Joanna touched on, that can react at the speed of business. And that's a really important point here. Every single one of the projects that we've worked on in this space require three things: speed, energy, and sites. All of those things must move in conjunction with each other. By integrating the data centers and leveraging energy opportunities like advanced nuclear and our robust natural gas supply into our energy strategy, Southwestern Pennsylvania can be a global leader in energy innovation and at the same time solve grid reliability issues. Thanks again for the chance to testify today.
Thank you. Good to see you again. Mr. Zapinski.
I'd just like to start by saying Matt and I did not coordinate our comments together. And so when you hear mine, don't think, oh, I've heard this before. Take it as an underscore of how important it is what he had to testify to and what I have to testify to. My name is Ken Zapinski, and I'm Director of Research and Public Policy for Pittsburgh Works Together. We are an alliance of business, organized labor, and economic development representatives whose goal is to grow jobs in the industries that are at the foundation of our economy: energy, manufacturing, and construction. These sectors provide the basis for our modern way of life, and they also represent the best path forward for economic opportunity and stability for the greatest number of Commonwealth residents. The AI and data center phenomenon is a perfect example of this. The AI jobs themselves may go to PhDs and keyboard wizards, but it all starts with something far more fundamental and industrial, from skilled tradesmen and women building and operating the plants that provide enough electricity to power all the computers and algorithms. That makes it a perfect economic development opportunity for Pennsylvania, which produces more excess power than any other state in the country. But so far, we have not leveraged that advantage nearly enough to create jobs and prosperity in the Commonwealth. Instead, Virginia and Ohio have taken advantage of being in the same power pool as Pennsylvania to build their data center economies. Loudoun County, Virginia, and the Columbus suburb of New Albany are the hottest data center markets in the country, and it is no exaggeration to say that they are being powered by Pennsylvania electricity. Combined, the two states import 25% of their total electricity from the rest of the PJM grid, a total that is a little less than what Pennsylvania exports to the grid every year. The data centers that make AI possible need reliable power that is available 24/7, 365 from sources such as natural gas and nuclear. Once again, that is tailor-made for Pennsylvania, where 91% of our generation comes from natural gas and nuclear. Last year's announcement that Microsoft is partnering with Constellation Energy to restart 3 Mile Island nuclear reactor underscores the scope of the opportunity if we are willing and able to grasp it. A Pittsburgh Works Together research report from last month, however, showed that we are moving far too slowly. Pennsylvania is the only major natural gas producing state that does not have a single natural gas power plant currently under construction. Texas, the only state which produces more natural gas than Pennsylvania, has 12. Thankfully, there are signs that things are starting to improve, most notably, as Matt mentioned, the recent announcement to rebuild the former Homer City coal plant as the country's largest natural gas power plant to serve data centers built on the 3,200-acre site. And Liberty Energy, Range Resources, and Imperial Land Company announced a plan last week to build new natural gas generation on reclaimed strip mining land. Pennsylvania has many redevelopment sites that are already outfitted with oversized gas pipelines and electric transmission wires that serve the power plants and other industrial customers that used to be there. Like Homer City, they are an asset for data center development that few other places can match. We should be working to prep them for new development and aggressively market them to this industry. But building power plants and data centers face the same kind of siting and permitting hurdles that, unfortunately, all heavy industry faces in Pennsylvania. We need to move at the speed of business. Consider what is happening next door in Ohio. Williams, the huge pipeline and energy company, is spending $1.6 billion to build 200-megawatt natural gas power plants for a new hyperscaler data center in New Albany. Williams filed its application for environmental and site approvals for the first half of the project with the Ohio Power Siting Board on March 7th. It anticipates getting the approvals in hand by June 5th. The project's air permit is expected to be issued in half that time. Imagine trying to permit a $1.6 billion project in Pennsylvania in less than 90 days. But that's what we need to do in order to be competitive. Finally, we can't let the Homer City announcement distract us from the broader peril facing Pennsylvania and the PJM grid. Yes, data center growth, EVs, and the electrification of life is adding demand that must be met. At the same time, ill-advised government policies are shutting down existing power plants that are needed to meet our existing demand. Those policies helped lead to the original shutdown of Homer City, and they will push other plants to shut down just as we need more power than ever. PJM interconnection is predicting power shortages and blackouts by 2030, if not sooner, if nothing changes. And we are already feeling the impact of rising electric bills. In short, taking advantage of the AI opportunity, as well as maintaining our current standard of living, relies on intelligently addressing the problems facing our electric grid. As Secretary of the Interior Burgum said during a recent visit to Washington County, energy is the industry that underpins every other industry. To sum up, for Pennsylvania to take advantage of the AI and data center economic opportunities to provide jobs and prosperity for Commonwealth residents, we need to build more power plants which provide electricity around the clock, primarily natural gas and nuclear. We need to take advantage of old industrial sites that have access to existing gas and electric infrastructure. We need to minimize permitting and development hurdles to move at the speed of business. And we need to maintain the existing baseload generation we currently have to facilitate expansion opportunities and to preserve what we already have in hand. Thank you for this opportunity.
Representative Kozak.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you to all the panelists in the previous segments. I have so many questions. I'm looking forward to bothering you afterwards on some of them. But so one of the things, I'm new to this job. I'm new here as a state representative just for a few months now. One of the things I'm seeing a consistent theme of across the board is shortages, 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 wherever we go. Labor, technical workforce, teachers, nurses, rural physicians, people in general, birth rates are down. It seems like artificial intelligence could provide a lot of help in these regions, in these areas where we can cut down on time spent doing certain things and efficiency. That's all wonderful. And I'm excited about the development of what we see coming. So we right now, as legislators, just to be clear, where we are in the State House, seeing what's happening and coming out of the governor's mansion, and these, what I believe to be pie-in-the-sky energy policies that are simply not sustainable. I mean, we're talking about AI here that's going to demand significant power, data centers that use as much power as the city of San Francisco does in one day, as we heard recently. We have these energy policies being proposed of renewable energies that simply cannot provide the base load for AI. So my question here is, if we can't get our act together as a state soon, does all of this industry just disappear? I mean, I'm thinking about just this amazing facility we're sitting in today and the data centers we've walked through recently in Pittsburgh, and we're worried about turning the lights on in the next 5 years. If we can't even have that, are we going to be able to power this next generation? So I'm so excited, but I'm also frustrated as the new guy here. Maybe that's just me being unaware of the realities of Harrisburg, but just want your feedback on this. These amazing individuals who have all this promise for us here in Pittsburgh, for our kids and our grandkids. We want them to have that industry here, but is there any signs that we can get this done with our energy policy in the current way that Harrisburg is set up right now?
I think you've summarized the existential question that's in front of the Commonwealth. And I would broaden it beyond just sort of AI and data centers. It's the need to grow the economy, no matter what your issue that you want to solve, whether it's income inequality or education or the environment or healthcare. Not only can you do a better job, you can't do that job unless you have a robust and growing economy. AI is particularly important. The AI and data center phenomenon is particularly important because it is of the moment, it's hot, and it's huge. And so there is a lot of opportunity, not just for Pennsylvania, but states, regions all over the country, as long as they're willing to move quickly and give the industry what it needs. But your bigger point that sort of underlies is we have a genuine electric grid crisis that needs to be addressed. And back when Matt and I were colleagues a decade or so ago, we were dealing with that, saying this is going to come down the road. We're going to have problems with the grid. But as you know, it's difficult to pay attention to potential problems that are a decade down the road. Well, now we're looking at 4, 5, 6 years, and folks, I think, are beginning to wake up. So it's not just Pennsylvania, but it's other states, neighboring states. What Maryland does, what New Jersey does, impacts what happens in Pennsylvania. They're not building generation, and so that gap that's created, who is going to step up? We did a research report last year where we described state energy policy as someone somewhere is going to build something to solve my problem. That's not a way to address this. And so it's serious, and the federal government needs to get on board, and the states need to get on board. And if we do it, it's prosperity. And if we don't, I worry about my daughter, who, is raising her family here in Pennsylvania.
I think. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Thank you.
I was just going to say, just piggybacking off of Ken's remarks, and Representative, you touched on the key question here. And, I think when we look ahead, the grid issue is really twofold. One is reliability. So will the power be there, and will that, power turn on when you flip the switch? The other side of the coin is the cost that's going to put us at a significant weakness. So it will be very difficult for us to attract data centers, anyone who is a large scale industrial operation that needs heavy energy, if the cost is so prohibitive to make it untenable that they would locate here. So I think those are the two twin issues facing us on the grid end. I think with regard to your question, I do think that there is a chance and an opportunity here for bipartisan support around some of the issues that we've talked about, from the state siting board that Ken mentioned in Ohio. I think that's really critical. to develop in Pennsylvania the right way, and to make sure these projects can get up and out of the ground very quickly, and maybe even more importantly, that we can communicate to the companies that you can get a project like that up and out of the ground as quickly as 90 days when we're competing with Ohio. I think the other point that's really critical is over the last couple of years around some really big issues, the General Assembly and the administration have come together in a bipartisan way on the CNI reduction, on NOL reform, on the PA sites funding, on permitting reform. So I do think there's an opportunity within the energy space to do something similar, particularly as we face the crisis that we're facing with the grid reliability issue, in conjunction with the opportunities that we have in southwestern Pennsylvania across the supply chain with Hitachi, MEPI, and others, natural gas with Range, CNX, they're developing coal mine methane. There's a bunch of opportunities there. And then on the other side of it, the sites that we have in this area that are really unique, combined with the universities, there's not a region in the country that has those assets and can tackle the energy challenges that this country and this globe is going to face over the next couple of years.
Thank you. I just think it's imperative that those leaders here that are in this, the AI industry, the leaders here in the energy industry need to make it clear that this goes away if we don't have the energy, the base load that we need. We have to get to the fundamentals of that, and I do not want to lose this for our region, and whatever we can do and come together to make that happen, I'm there for it. So thank you, guys.
Representative Nelson.
Thank you, chairs. I just wanted to start off with the first public-private announcement, thanking Astro Robotics for installing an AI-generated arm here. That'll be the first Pittsburgh human to go both ways, I have to say. So it's great being here. And our questions really dovetail nicely together. The AI opportunity, the enhancing reliability onto the grid, when in your testimony, Ken, you mentioned 12 projects in Texas, 1 in Pennsylvania, and I think it's going to be happening. It's just a matter of if it's going to be happening here or in Ohio, Virginia, Texas, that infrastructure side. If from your perspective, Pennsylvania has, we've lost in this, we say one thing and then we do another, and I'll cite the Reggie example where Governor Shapiro is spending $3 million of taxpayer money to continue the lawsuit, which has then, what is the effect of targeted environmental taxes on power generation specifically and only in Pennsylvania? What does that do to exterior investment, with people from national investors coming into Pennsylvania, that unreliability side?
Well, let me start with, so the research report we did last month showed that of the major gas-producing states, we were the only state that did not currently have a project under construction. That was prior to the Homer City announcement, but it's also, the Homer City project sort of is not under construction as of this time. So we were the only natural gas-producing state that did not have at least one project under, and as I said, Texas had 12. In addition, the report showed there were no natural gas producing plants being built in any of the Reggie states. I was at a forum out at Range that the PA Chamber of Business and Industry put on a couple weeks ago, and one of the panelists was from Tenaska, which owns a bunch of natural gas plants here in Pennsylvania, and he was asked what is Pennsylvania's competitive thing, and the first thing he said was, Reggie is a problem. It will send us to Ohio and West Virginia. Now, I will say to temper that, you have the announcement of the Homer City plant, and that's done under the auspices of Reggie, unknown, Pacer and Press, unknown, and yet they're still wanting to move forward. It's not that Reggie isn't a problem with that plant. But I suspect that the asset that is there in terms of the gas feed that can be delivered, the electricity infrastructure that's there that would not have to be rebuilt somewhere else, kind of offsets the carbon tax potential. So folks might point to that and say, oh, Reggie's not a problem with that. I think that's a unique site because of the scale and the scope of it.
The next part of that question, and I know it gets
Yeah, I'm sorry.
interrelated, but Matt, you had mentioned the bipartisan effort, which I truly believe it is. The energy, the jobs, the opportunity. As we're working on bipartisan legislation, that as you're looking to recruit this investment to our region, if Pennsylvania, I just recently learned, you first have to get your zoning approval, then you can move on to the next step of your permit, then you need your environmental justice, then you need your, and all of these permits are not enabled to be concurrently applied for. And so then when you sprinkle in lawfare over top, the permits themselves run out. If Pennsylvania could enhance, not lower the standards, but allow concurrent application and use the AI technology, which can forecast what those air permit, off gas would be from a natural gas plant. How would that help your recruiting efforts to say you can apply for everything at once, including your air permit, because we already know what will be coming out of those stacks using the technology that we're trying to recruit here?
Yeah, it's a great question, Representative. The fact that we don't have the ability to pull certain projects and put them on the fast track with something like the siting board that Ken mentioned from Ohio puts us at a competitive disadvantage, not only in general, but specifically for the largest of the large projects, because as I said earlier, those projects are dependent on power generation. They're dependent on available sites. We have both of those in really a robust manner. The third leg of that stool is they need to move quickly. And every project that we've engaged, whether it's a data center project or a large industrial user, the first question is how quickly can we get this project up and out of the ground? We need to provide them with not only a short time frame, but we need to provide them with a certain time frame. And one of the things a siting board can do is effectuate and execute that piece of the objective.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Representative Gatos.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Matt. I think your comments are spot on. And Representative Nelson actually asked a question that was very similar, and I think you've answered it. But if you had to reiterate, what is the number one thing that we could be doing in the legislature, Republicans, Democrats alike, what would it be?
I think it's that speed issue, getting to the point where we can confirm that projects of this magnitude can start and get up and out of the ground in a, as Ken was saying, not in or Representative Nelson, I think, said, not in a lower standard manner, but we can apply standards that are appropriate. We just need to move faster. And I think that speed question is really the one that's paramount for a lot of the projects that we're dealing with. And that's one that I think is uniquely situated within the public policy space, particularly at the state level.
But I'm also hearing that what you're saying and what previous speakers have said is that we have to stop nibbling around the edges on the small stuff and go straight to the big stuff, because we are going to lose a huge opportunity.
I think that's right. I mean, these are projects that are, in and of themselves transformative on the AI and data center side. So you have that residual benefit that comes to communities, I think, from co-locating. Joanna was really articulate on the benefits of co-locating and the supply chain possibilities there. On the other side of it, the capital investment, Homer City is a great example, $10 billion capital investment right now on the energy side. Those capital intensive projects are transformative for communities, for the region, for the Commonwealth. And so I think, I agree with you, Representative Gatos. I think this is a great opportunity, but we need to move fast and we need to move in a very large manner, particularly on the energy side of this equation.
Well, with my background coming from the financing and venture capital, I've found that it is probably the number one reason why we don't see more investment in Pennsylvania is because we don't move fast enough. So I think that I'd like to see capital unleashed, but also recognize that if we as legislators don't encourage these big things to happen, and here's the thing is we're a state that has all of these things right here in our fingertips. We have great labor. We have great businesses. We have a great environment. We have great educational institutions. And it seems that what we're hearing today is that what we are missing is some leadership from the legislative level, if I may say, to make sure that we get government out of the way. So thank you for your comments.
Thank you all. Before I turn to final summations by Chairman Rowe and Senator Pennycook, just one final question. The governor has been quoted several times as being tired of losing to frickin' Ohio. My grandmothers would have sent me to my room for that one, but I think we all share the sentiment. And so I'm looking for some hard numbers as how we quantify it, if you can. How does Pennsylvania, in terms of AI jobs, in terms of AI investment, how are we doing compared to the other 49 states? Are we in the top third? Are we in the middle third? Are we in the bottom third?
That's not a number that our organization has looked at. I think maybe Joanna Dovin might have a better context. I will say that one of the things that we're working on now is to document the speed of permitting, air, environmental, site development permitting through the Ohio Power Siting Board, and look at all the project they put through, total CapEx, how quickly those, and set that as the standard that anything Pennsylvania does can't be any worse. We want to be better than that, but we shouldn't be any worse than that. So we're pulling that information together, and as soon as we have it, we will share it with everybody who would like to see it.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
Yeah, I was just going to add in, we can certainly get you that info, Chairman, but I was going to add, when we're competing with other states, we've really seen, particularly through the bipartisan work that you all have done with the administration, over the last 12 to 18 months, a noticeable change of projects that we are competing for now. I think what was happening for a number of years is we weren't even in the stadium. We weren't on the playing field. I don't even know that we were in the stadium competing for big projects like Intel, for example. There's been a noticeable change over the last 12 to 18 months. I think we need to put the pedal down to the metal and make sure that continues and even accelerates. But it has been a noticeable change, and I think that's really important. It's due to a lot of the bipartisan work that you all have supported.
Well, thank you. To anyone in the room that has that information, I think it would be valuable. Go ahead. I know you're dying to jump in. I'm going to break a rule here and welcome you back.
One of the big gaps is we need further analysis on how to quantify the new AI economy. So here's what I know right now. If you look at southwestern Pennsylvania, we have 0.97% of the nation's megawatts are data centers. Yet we're number 2 in natural gas, right? We all know this. So when you look at megawatts in development, it's funny, Arizona is number 2 right now in their water scarce region too, right? We're like in the late, it's like 27, 28. So we're down. Now with Homer City coming online, although when they're actually going to come online, it's at least 2 years away. We're going to trail up because of Homer City at some point. So now we look at venture capital. I just looked at this yesterday from PitchBook. In 2024, the metro region, received $1.87 billion in venture capital investment. We far beat out Columbus. We far beat out these cities that are growing in jobs and in population. So that is a really good thing. But what that tells you is this: we need immediate policies that connect the companies here that are getting that venture capital, guess what, it's from Silicon Valley, to incentivize them to stay here, thicken, and grow. And that is why this competitive compute policy is something I'm passionate about and I'm working on. Other metrics,
I mean, those are the main metrics where venture capital is growing here. AI patents, I think we're number 8, which is a big deal. The last thing, when it comes to AI workforce, we're number 3 in terms of an educated AI workforce. So we're behind Boston and Silicon Valley. This is in the Pittsburgh region. So we've got all these things moving. We just got to commercialize and grow jobs.
We just want to make sure the governor in the future isn't talking, or any governor in the future here, isn't talking about upset that we're losing to, according to some of the earlier testimony, frickin' Oklahoma, okay? And so Senator Pennycook and then Chairman Rowe.
I want to thank all the testifiers today. I've taken pages of notes because I think we are, in fact, literally on the edge of success. And that's great, but in Pennsylvania, we seem to just, we mess it up every time. We just cannot take that leap of faith, and I hope that we can change that. What I heard loud and clear is our energy policy is going to hold us back. We do not have a strategic energy plan in Pennsylvania, and I hope that this is an eye-opener for all of us to get together and to figure that out. I'm a huge component, or a huge supporter of portable nuclear reactors, and I think nuclear is the way to go with these data centers, and I think that we've got all this natural gas, and we really need to jump in, both feet, take the plunge, and just get it done. So I want to thank you all. I look forward to working with you as we move forward with AI technology and AI policy. We are, I think, very united, both in the House and the Senate, that AI is an amazing tool, and we do not want to regulate that amazing tool. We want to enable you to be innovative and creative and bring jobs to Pennsylvania. So thank you all for being here.
Chairman Rowe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank Senator Argall, Senator Pennycook, the entire Senate Majority Policy Committee for hosting us here today. I want to thank all of the House members who have made the trip here to join us. It's very clear that the testifiers made to us that AI is going to be transformative for every sector of our economy. I think one specific thing that stuck with me, Director Dovin, is what you pointed out. The 3 things you need are power, fiber, and permitting ready to go. And I think the conversation has pointed out that at least in 2 of those areas we are particularly deficient. You look at the power generation, the fact that we are losing the power war to China, the fact that, as Mr. Zabinski pointed out, not a single natural gas plant project has started since 2019 when Governor Wolf and then Governor Shapiro brought the sort of Damocles that is the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, $1 billion energy tax, into the picture. Yet, by contrast, China greenlit almost 100 gigawatts of thermal energy developments last year alone, outpacing the last 7 years combined. We're losing that energy race despite the fact that we are the 2nd largest natural gas producing state in the nation. On the permitting side, it was Governor Asa Hutchinson that famously said about a $3 billion steel mill, we will have you open for business before Pennsylvania even gives you a permit to start construction. And he was right. That $3 billion steel mill is now open in Arkansas and not here in Pennsylvania. In my own district, I've got a mom-and-pop small business that wants to replace a cracked drain pipe to prevent their basement from flooding, and DEP has strung them along for 2 years. 2 years for one cracked drain pipe. I cannot imagine that that's going to allow us to be competitive in that 90-day window, Mr. Zapinski, that you referenced that we need in order to be competitive. So whether it's the regulatory side of things, whether it's the power side of things, we need to do better if we are going to take advantage of all that this outstanding industry has to offer. Pennsylvania is uniquely positioned to be a leader in this movement from our generation standpoint, from our united front on the legislative side, both in the Senate and the House, to ensure that we are the leader in this emerging industry. So thank you again, Chairman Argall.
Thanks to all, House, Senate, all who testified. This was very valuable. Senator Pennycook, thank you for bringing this to our attention. And Dave, I've never tried this before. Grab the gavel. We stand adjourned. And on time.
It's very impressive how on time they are.
Yeah, they kept it moving.
So, you know, you're all invited for a tour. You'd like to stay for